What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an all right day today. What a wild week that we've had. In fact, if we just have a look at where Bitcoin was sitting a week ago, we were up over $31,000. And since that point, Bitcoin has actually fallen 28.5%. This is obviously due to a lot of fears of what is going to be happening with the Fed and the FOMC meeting, which I do want to get into quick. I want to make today's video very short and sweet. We're going to get straight to the point. We need to talk about what is going on, where we are, where we could be going, and how Bitcoin could be continuously affected by the Fed's policies. Now, obviously, fear and greed is at extreme fear. I don't need to tell you that, right? So let's get straight to the point. Before we even get to the charts, we still have something to potentially worry about, and that is what is going to happen tomorrow with the FOMC. Now, they've been raising rates by 50 basis points up until this point. However, as you can see right here, the New York Times, Bloomberg, Axios, and the Wall Street Journal are all talking about the possibility of a 75 basis point hike. Now, keep in mind, none of these stories, like they say, are actually featured by anyone from the Fed. There's no official saying this. It's just speculation. So I don't want to spread any rumors. However, the last time we had the rumor, essentially, that the CPI data was supposed to come in a little bit higher than usual, it did come in higher than usual. So this may be one of those times where the rumors just might be true. So right here, you can see the Fed has now set up everyone for a 75 basis point hike, which is happening tomorrow, okay? Which is why you might be still seeing a little bit of uncertainty in the market. So we may not really get any major move until we get that announcement. It says the story breaking first in the Wall Street Journal arrived in time to accelerate what was already dramatic market moves. So essentially, guys, that is what we are going to talk about today. And I want to discuss something that we had mentioned, which was the minor hash ribbons, right? The capitulation event and what I had said about that. So if that sounds good to you guys, like I said, we're going to get straight to the point today. I hope you guys appreciate these very straightforward videos. And let me know how you're doing. You know, I know there's a lot of people that are new in the space. This probably seems absolutely crazy what's going on right now. It is a little crazy even for me, you know, considering what is going on in the global markets and specifically the US alone, but we're still going to tackle it. I'm not going anywhere. You guys know that. We're going to have a look at what is going on, relax, take a look at the data, and if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's dive directly into the charts, okay? So we're going to talk about the charts a little bit first. So right here, guys, you can see on June 9th, we did get the minor capitulation. Now, I had told you guys that generally when we get the capitulation, it does not mean that the bottom is in. In fact, actually, let me just refer back to my Twitter post. If you guys are following me over on Twitter, it's at the Crypto Zombie. I posted this on the 11th, and I said hash ribbons have flashed capitulation. This doesn't mean the bottom is in, but could mean that we're close. 10 out of 13 times, Bitcoin pumped after the buy signal. But on average, it takes between 1 to 3 months to actually get that buy signal. Now, on the plus side, once we get that signal, Bitcoin generally pumps anywhere from 30 to 200%. And actually, on a few occasions that I omitted, because there were a few times where we actually had like a 2,000% pump, I'm not saying we're going to get that this time, but genuinely, usually it's a recovery, right? So if we go back over here and we have a look, you can see that right here, we actually got this green dot, which is usually, it actually precedes the buy signal, right? Which we're nowhere near that, but you could see that we actually got that right here. And I mean, literally the next day we started the massive dump, right? Now, the good news on, about this is that whenever we do get these, we often do have more sideways, potentially downwards price action, but this does mean that the worst is usually either in or very close. Now, it also, usually means that we're going to go sideways for a little bit, right? So having a look right here, what is going on? Well, yesterday I told you guys that this area right here, this little bit of, resistance that we had back here in December of 2020, around 24,000, I told you I was not confident that that was going to hold. There just wasn't enough really activity happening at that level. The next level was around 19,800. Now you can see right here, if I zoom in, we actually tried to pump above that level, but I told you it really wasn't a significant level to pay attention to, and Bitcoin was rejected. Now, obviously, we still are trading on the daily in this range. We do have to see what's going to happen, although I would be very, very surprised if in the next 24 hours we had a major pump or another major dump. I think a lot of people are just waiting to see what is going to happen tomorrow with the meeting, right? So that was essentially what I was saying as far as the levels were concerned. And so crazy. In fact, if we can zoom in on this fractal is still playing out. You can actually see the blue line. I overlaid it on top of the chart, and we almost made a damn near exact move to my target of $22,372. And I kid you not, guys, at the time of making this video, that is exactly where Bitcoin is sitting. Now, I don't know if this is a coincidence. It could be. A lot of people say, show me the chart, I'll tell you the news, right? The chart was potentially suggesting that there was one more move to the downside. Now, I wasn't expecting it to be this quick, this swift, this rapid, but nevertheless, we did get it. So some people say, oh, well, it happened now. That's good. We got it out of the way. Because you could see what we actually ended up doing after that was then we ended up pumping. We still couldn't get as high as we were. It was still in a downtrend at that point. So this does say that Bitcoin could attempt a revisit to around the $30,000 level. However, as I said, we have a lot of factors at play here. We could see final deviation from this move. And, if we really have some bad news come out about the Fed tomorrow, then we may actually potentially continue lower. So keep in mind, this fractal, the last time that we had this over here in this area, we weren't having all of the hawkish, and raising of rates that that the Fed was doing. So it is a little bit of a different scenario. However, we did in fact get the touch that we were looking for on the 200 weekly moving average. So we knew at some point it was going to happen. As I said, once again, I'm not claiming that I predicted this perfectly because I didn't. I didn't think it was going to happen this quick. I did think it was going to happen before we had, the next move to the upside came a lot quicker than we had anticipated. But as you can see, if we actually go back in time, usually once we do come down to the level, with the exception of the COVID crash, because that was a bit of a black swan event. But if you really go back historically, usually once we get down to this level, we often sort of bounce around this level for a while. So when we had done it back here in 2015, Bitcoin really bounced between $200 and $300 from January of 2015 all the way to August of 2015. So it bounced around in that area for a year. So is Bitcoin going to essentially bounce between these two for another year? We're going to bounce from 22,000 all the way up to 40,000, back to 22, up to 40. It's possible, right? That is very similar to what we did before, but it is a little bit of a different environment, right? Because of what's going on right now, especially in the United States. And I did say that we could fall below it, but oftentimes, generally speaking, if we look historically, we usually do close back above it within a week, which does, when we're actually already technically closing above it right now, but the week is not over. It's only Tuesday. So we do have a lot left in this week. So it's not impossible for us to come, back down here again potentially. And, next week we would have a nice close back above this level. So do be safe out there if you guys are trading. And you guys know, obviously, if you do want to learn how to trade, I do have tutorials popping up above. There's over $23,000 in bonuses below. If you're interested, I'm not saying you should trade right now. It's definitely a very difficult time. A lot is being based on the news. You're looking at these charts. The charts are telling you one thing, then the Fed comes out and everything gets crazy, right? Or we get the CPI reports and they're worse than expected, right? So there's a lot of factors right now outside of just the technicals. But even just looking at the technicals, you can see regardless, once we did lose the 600 daily, we did have that catastrophic fall. And, likewise, whereas we lost this, we fell. Generally right here, we build support, which is why I've been saying for a long time that really anywhere between that 20, right where we are right now, 22,000, even up to 41,000, which seems pretty far away at this point, right? That's almost 100% increase, a little under that. Still great accumulation if you are looking long-term to dollar cost average, right? One thing that I want to point out that Glassnode actually mentioned was that the Mayer multiple, as you can see right here, down here, they circled it in red, has actually reached a historically low level. So they say that it's around 0.55. This is slightly lower than that of the March 2020, break that we had down here for the COVID crash. And it is in line with reading during what we had in December of 2018, which is this down here. So once again, we are in that, historically a very good buy zone, a very good dollar cost average zone, right? And they do say that if previous history is followed, Bitcoin will soon reach or has already reached a bottom. Now, you might be saying, well, if they come out and things are just going to get worse, that is a possibility. There are a lot of people anticipating, though, that we're going to go to 20K. So there's most likely one of two things that are going to happen. And this is in my experience, okay? Usually, if everyone in the market is anticipating something, they usually don't get what they want. So if everyone thinks we're going to go to 20K, odds are we're either going to stop just a little bit shy of 20K, which is literally what we just did, or we're probably going to plow through 20K and go a little bit lower. And the only reason that I say that there's that possibility, which actually, by the way, we did put in another CME futures gap when we did open. So we do technically have a gap up at around 28,000. But if I actually go back all the way over here, you could see that we did have a gap, which I had said I thought was an anomaly. We were never going to have to talk about it again. But there is a gap that if it was to be closed, you'd have to come down to about 18,145. So what I'm trying to say is there is probably a good chance that we either, like literally what I'm trying to say is there's two scenarios. We either don't go to 20K, or if we start to break 20K, we probably fall down to around this $18,000 to close the gap. We probably won't stop at 20K because there's just too many people that are expecting us to go to that level, right? And usually the market, not everyone is going to be right? You can't have everybody winning. That's not how markets work. They do work like that in bull markets, but we're clearly not in a bull market right now. But the one thing I can tell you is that the S&P, although it is down significantly from its high, it is actually forming potentially a bit of support on this previous resistance. You can see this channel right here that the S&P was forming, and currently we are sitting at the top of that channel. So this could be signaling that maybe we are due for a bit of a bounce, but as I said, pay attention to what goes on tomorrow. And another thing really quick, if I just switch this to the weekly chart, because we do know that Bitcoin and the S&P do tend to kind of follow each other a lot. You could see right here that, Bitcoin had essentially touched the 200 here at the same time. We had the bounce. Same thing here with the COVID. We plowed through it, and then we got back above it. But if we actually look right here, we still need to fall from where we are right now, possibly another 6% if the S&P was to bottom out on the S&P's 200 weekly moving average, which if it does, we know that Bitcoin will probably fall a little bit lower, which means we would, in fact, fall below, potentially wick below the 200 weekly moving average. And currently, as I'm making this video, I was not expecting it to pump this quick again. Lots of unexpected things, I should say. But then again, don't fight the Fed. That's what they say. We are putting in last time we were up at these levels, wow, I don't even know. Pretty far back, guys. So the dollar is in fact pumping right now. It is breaking its previous resistance. And, by the end of the day, we'll see if we actually close above here. And that would probably, once again, not be too great for, typical commodities. But the one thing that I will say right now is that the RSI is extremely oversold. More oversold than the COVID crash, more oversold than the 2018 bear market, more oversold than the 2014 to 2015 bear market. So we are definitely living in historical times, and a lot of the data that had worked, it did work. These are indicators, these are moving averages that we have used for years on this channel, and they have always worked. Right now, it seems like they're not. And this is telling me that we are definitely living through a different period in history. This is one for the history books, right? Like I said, we've never seen how Bitcoin reacts to a true bear market in traditional stocks. And we've also never seen the Fed acting as hawkish as they are right now during Bitcoin's existence in the 13 years. So lots of opportunities for learning definitely right now, especially if you're new. I mean, I'm learning right now too. These are all very unique charts that we're paying attention to, and I'm definitely enjoying it. I hope that you guys are. As we know though, whether you're looking at stocks or Bitcoin or whatever, ultimately no bear market ever lasts forever, and we do end up eventually realizing that it was during these times of fear, right? During these times of fear, when you're looking at your portfolio and you're saying to yourself, man, what have I done? I totally botched this. Just remember that it is a paper loss. Now, I can't promise that all the altcoins are going to come back. I think some of them will. Some of them are going to continue to put in new all-time highs, but a lot of them won't. Bitcoin, I definitely 100% believe will. But, having a look right here, Bitfinex long, still going. So I don't know. I don't know what these guys are doing over there, but they are setting up for a potential massive move. And, there could be a squeeze at some point. I think there will be a squeeze. I think there's a lot of people very pessimistic. You're seeing a lot of the Bitcoin bulls turning into Bitcoin bears, calling for $7,000, $3,000 levels. And when you see these Bitcoin bulls turn into these Bitcoin bears and say, that's it, it's over, it's kind of a bit of a hint, right, that things are getting pretty bad, and usually that's when markets tend to bottom. And although you could say that this time is different, I get where you're coming from, What's not different is human emotion. Fear and greed is the same thing. It never changes. It will never change. It's built into, our hard drive, our hardware of being a human, right? So I do believe that once you see, these big bulls totally capitulating, could be close, right? Over here, though, guys, we just can't. Well, I mean, I'm always a Bitcoin bull. Let's be honest. I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin forever, but short-term, obviously, a little bit difficult. And the other thing that I need to just talk about, which is sort of affecting the markets right now, is the fact that you're seeing crypto companies actually laying people off. BlockFi has laid off 20% of its workforce, while Crypto.com has cut 5%, and Coinbase will sack 18% of their staff, around 1,100 jobs, amid fears of an incoming crypto winter. Coinbase's CEO says that he admitted the company had grown too quickly and was to blame for at least some of its problems. So great, they just laid off 18% of their staff, which means that Coinbase's customer support, which is virtually non-existent, basically now has been sucked into a black hole. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to find another place to and by the way, Coinbase basically blocked me anyway. They won't even let me use it. So whatever, it is what it is. Eventually Coinbase, if they just continue down this road of terrible customer service, people are just going to go elsewhere, and this is how it works. This is like what you've seen with Terra Luna, what you're seeing with Celsius, and now potentially with Coinbase. Ultimately there will be those projects, those coins, those companies, right, that will rise out of the flames like the Phoenix. But these are the times, these markets, where you do wash out a lot of the garbage, right? The vegetable tokens, the DeFi tokens, right? The meme coins. I mean, come on, guys, like meme coins having billion-dollar valuation that have absolutely no value. And that was something that I had warned about months ago. It was starting to concern me that, people were just throwing money at anything. And usually when you get to that point, it is a little scary. Unfortunately, I do focus mostly on Bitcoin, and yeah, we should have been focusing more on the broader market, because obviously, like, that was the signal right there. When people are like, screw Bitcoin, I just want to buy this doggy coin, Elon Musk's, Floki or whatever. Not to, look, if you like it, you like it. I'm not trying to hate on anything. I'm just saying the signal was there, right? So in a nutshell, guys, it's very, very good what's actually happening to the markets right now. And I do believe that once we flush out all this garbage, the projects that are legit, the companies that are legit, they will survive. Bitcoin will survive. Ethereum is most likely going to survive. Let's be honest. Ethereum is the number one altcoin. In fact, sometimes I almost feel like, should it be called an altcoin? I don't know. It kind of seems like it's made its own ground, right? It's created its own, it is the top smart contract platform. But ultimately, guys, that's it for me. I was supposed to make today's video short, but I just rant and rant. So thank you for coming back to the channel. Let me know what you think. Like I said, tomorrow is the big day. We have to see what the Fed is going to do. They're expecting a 75 basis point hike. And, as you can see right here, even stocks right now are not even attempting really to really move to the upside. Maybe we find some support here, but ultimately, let's see what happens tomorrow. And they are, still looking like they're going to be hawkish essentially straight through September. So it could be a little bit of a rough year. And, I was saying that had we based it on previous cycles, yes, we could have, had that $40,000, $55,000 Bitcoin by December. I'm not going to say that that's not possible. We just have to see how aggressive they get. They start going 75, 1.5. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll back down. Maybe they'll totally back down. Maybe tomorrow we'll wake up and the Fed will go, oh my goodness, what are we doing? We're crashing the markets, and maybe they won't do it. In that case, we'll have a massive pump. But if we do get the 75, still could be a little bit rocky, right? Or if it's higher, it could definitely be bad for Bitcoin. But it's not anything to worry about, guys. It's just another day. Zoom out on the chart. Short term, charts look terrible. Long term, we know where Bitcoin's going. So thank you for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. And also thank you for everyone, all your nice wishes yesterday. You guys are awesome. Turned out all I did basically was just, stretch a tendon real bad. So essentially tendinitis. I just got to keep my foot straight, my leg straight for a while, not bend my knee. And I should be good within 2 weeks to a month. So thank you guys. I love you. You're awesome. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. If you haven't watched these videos, check them out right here, right now. And until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.